right, Barrister, let's talk about this bill that is right now in the House of Rep. Say reps more bill to ban public officials, families from using private schools and hospitals. Let me read one or two paragraphs here. The House of Representatives has begun considering a bill that would prohibit public and civil servants, along with their immediate families, from using private schools and hospitals. Introduced by the representative of Isukwato, Umumuna, Federal Constituency, pardon my whatever, this transition now. Federal Constituency in Abia State. Okay, I have to pronounce this. Isukwato stroke Nachi Federal Constituency in Abia State. The proposed legislation passed its first reading during plenary and aims to compel government officials to rely solely on public education and healthcare services. Barrister, these people are taking us for fools. You see, they can take their families. They can send their families to private schools and healthcare, up to flying them abroad. But they want to block the chances of civil servants doing the same thing. Barrister, what's your take on this?
Well, if you talk about public servants, even them, members of the House,
they are public servants. Okay.
Even the senators.
They are not civil. They are public servants, but not civil servants.
Yes, the bill.
In this case, they are talking about civil servants.
No, the bill is talking about public servants, inclusive. My take on that bill is that it will run into legal obstacles. They have done the first reading. It's supposed to be second reading. They should consider
it's public servants. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, public servants. So it includes them.
They should consider the legal obstacles, the constitutional obstacles that they will face in trying to pass the law. You cannot force me, whether I'm a public servant or private person, to send my children to a particular school. It's my right, if I can afford it, to send my children to a private school or public school. So you cannot legislate and force me to choose a public school as against a private school. So it is going to run into constitutional and legal obstacles. But other than that, the practicability of enforcing that law is there altogether. If you make that bill, the president is a public servant. If the president falls ill and you take him abroad, is the abroad, are you going to take him to a public hospital abroad or a private hospital abroad? And who can stop the president from going to a hospital that he wants, or his children going to a school that he wants? At certain level, directors, PAMSEC, ministers, there are security issues involving even their children and family members. So it is going to be a difficult thing to say, okay, let every minister, let the president, vice, governors, their deputies, the commissioners, all send their children to commercial schools. This is not what we want. You can improve the quality of education at the public schools and elsewhere without putting this bill. And I have given the problem, most of them talking, they do not even know what is the problem of education, for instance. If you go to a public school, whether a public university, whether a public primary school, whether a public secondary school.
No, but the argument, hold on, Barrister, sorry to cut you short. The argument is which I agree with. I agree with the argument, the intention behind it. Now, like you said, it will hit serious legal battle. There's no doubt about that. But the intention, the spirit behind it, I like that. Now the argument is, of course, if the law compels me to visit health to visit public healthcare system and public schools, or rather send my children to public schools, I will definitely have no option but to take care of those institutions. Those things you were trying to list now will be taken care of. Our universities will become more credible. Our healthcare system will be more equipped. There's no doubt, because at the end of the day, what will be at the back of their mind is, oh, my son, my child, or my daughter, my son, or my wife, or myself may be sick tomorrow, and that will be where they will be taking me to. So, but that is about. We know that by law it will be difficult to. But let's assume that such thing pass into law. That means that our health and educational institutions will be well taken care of. They will have no option but to take care of it, because they will partake of the system themselves. They will be at risk they will be at risk not to get it right, because it will affect them directly. So, but unlike what we have now, that they don't care, they just siphon this money that is meant for healthcare, or the money that is meant for education, to build our educational system and equip it. They just divert it to their personal world, because at the end of the day, they just believe that, okay, they'll siphon all this money, and out of this same money they stole, they don't care about what happens to others. They will use out of this money to fund their children, their family education, fund their medical bills. So that is the point, Barrister.
What good intention is good, because these schools have suffered some neglect or but I have something. I look at the public school and the private schools, and I ask myself, what is the problem? Why do people not want to carry their children to public school? Why do they prefer to carry their children to private school? You can see there are a set of reasons for that. And the Nigerian attitude of I'm a big person. First of all, look at all the public schools. They have the best teachers. And sometimes the best teachers are in the public schools. The best. Let me tell you. That's the fact.
Yeah,
in fact, their remuneration is far better than the private schools.
Yeah.
If you go to a primary school here where they're paying a teacher in private school 10,000 naira,
wow.
The public school is getting, for today, you'll be getting the minimum wage of 77,000. But why is the performance of that place where the teacher's quality, the teacher's remuneration is less, why is the performance better? It's simply supervision and attention. Why the public schools have better teachers, better remuneration, and better conditions of service? The perception of public in Nigeria means it's for nobody. In the past, when we were going to school, right from primary school, they were what is called education inspectors.
Yeah.
And they were very adept at their work. They never announced when they were coming to a primary school.
Yeah.
Even sometimes they come, the teachers do not recognize them. They'll sit somewhere and observing.
Yeah.
And making their report. Those are the things that have died because of corruption and carelessness and the attitude to whatever is public in Nigeria. So those are the issues that we should focus on. Even if you bring the government children into that, will it solve that problem? Just like public hospitals, they have, most of them, when the ABU teaching hospital was inaugurated, they imported all the equipment that you can have. When the national hospital was opened, they imported all the most modern equipment from Germany everywhere and recruited and trained doctors on it. But you cannot compare their hospital to any German hospital. The attitude is different. Very different. The attitude to public work and public service is very, very different. That is what makes the difference between public and private. So when you go to a public hospital, and I had the experience because my mother was in Shika. It took us 1.5 years to diagnose hepatitis C, 1.5 months
Wow. Oh,
to
okay.
diagnose hepatitis C in what is supposed to be a premier public institution, Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital. We were in the ward for all that while. And everything spoiled, the lift spoiled. If we want to take your patient to the x-ray room, you have to go and struggle for a stretcher or wheelchair. You hold it, another person will grab it because they were not enough. Whoever was able to take it will come. You put your person and come through the staircase. The attendants are there looking at you. Nobody is going to help you. When you bring people into the emergency ward, everybody is looking at you like that. Emergency ward that is supposed to be for 20 people, 100 people are there. You bring wrappers and spread it on the floor and put your patient. It takes maybe the next 2 to 3 hours before a doctor will even look in their direction. So the attitude to work in these hospitals, the consultants are few. Each of the consultants have private hospitals where they work. So when they come to the government hospital, they don't pay attention. So come back to what we are saying. The problem with us, when we want to solve a problem, we do not study the problem. Like the corruption. When you want to fight corruption, study it in all its ramifications. Then you can provide solutions. And that has always been the difference between us and the foreign countries that they study a problem in its detail and then they are able to provide solutions. So let's not just pick and choose. Let's study the reasons why these educational institutions are not performing as expected. And then we provide a holistic solution to it. Not just picking at, okay, let the public servants and all these people send that. That will not end up solving the problem in all its ramifications. That's what I'm trying to say.